How did you end up in Janesville?
Janesville, my wife is a teacher, and she managed to find out that we were in Waukesha, and she found out she could get a job teaching at Black Hawk Tech, the technical college just south of town here, between here and Beloit. And she got a job in the business administration section teaching. So I came to Janesville with my wife and went over to the bus company in town here, the Van Gelder Bus Company, and I think I got in there the next day, and I was down the road.
You had a pretty good resume.
Oh, yes, I had a good resume. So down the road I went, working for Van Gelders for a number of years, and that just started a whole train of things. Got to know the people from Head Start, and you know the Head Start program.
Right.
They asked me to come aboard and manage their bus operations for Brock and Walworth County, so I did that for 4 or 5 years, managed that operation. And by, I had known Dave Muma, the manager of, head manager of Janesville Transit. I've known him up in Minnesota. He was from St. Cloud, Minnesota. We were old buddies from there, and when I found out he was here in Janesville, I went over to talk to him,
okay.
And guess what?
Small world.
He talked me into coming aboard, yes, sir.
But you're also leading the band at the Senior Center.
Well, the music, like I say, has always been a part of me. When I first got out of the Army, when I was in the Army band, I got out of the Army in Chicago there and was working for a bus company, but I managed to find a big dance band that played in Chicago on weekends. So somebody told me about it, and I went down and I got into that. We played six years in Chicago there. Chicago, Friday nights, Saturday nights, jobbing. You know what jobbing is. I mean, it's not a steady job, but it's kind of neat.
But it keeps you busy.
Oh, absolutely. That was a good band, and I had a lot of fun playing in that band down in Chicago. We played for inauguration of a governor, Governor Kerner of Illinois. We played for his inauguration, and just good stuff all the way through. So I stayed in that band quite a while until I got...
Was this while you were actually driving the bus?
I was driving full time and playing for them on weekends. Yeah. So that worked.
Very patient, Mrs. King.
Well, my wife, God bless her, had 7 little kiddies come along in the meantime. And I was asked the question, how can you have 7 kids when you're on the road all the time? And I won't go into any more details on that.
And the answer to that?
No, it was great. Truly, I didn't see my kids as much as I'd like, but I worked so they could have everything they needed, and that was what is important to me in life. You know? Not just sit around and work one little job. So I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time just to keep the kids going and keep them in clothes and food and all that.
Sure.
That was what that was all about. But
what are, like, for people that are maybe starting out, and you went through this whole road of driving bus in different ways, and I think people are still looking at driving and being a commercial driver as a very viable opportunity. What would you say to those people to kind of watch out for, maybe lessons you've learned?
Well, yeah, just being a driver for the job and putting in the hours is not the kind of driver that anybody's looking for when it comes to these tour companies like Van Gelder or any of the other ones in the area here. They need a guy who is a people person. Obviously, I guess I don't have to say much more what a people person is. We all know that. But he has to go out on the road and be a salesman. He has to be a host. He has to take care of those people as well as keep that motor coach running. I would go on charters to Branson, down to St. Louis to see the Arch and all that. But you'd let your people off. They'd get dressed. You'd take them out for dinner. You'd bring them back to the hotel at 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then you had to service that bus for the next day. So it's not all gravy, but you got to love it. I mean, that's what it's all about, Yuri. You got to love what you do. And you can usually pick out a person pretty fast when they come in to look for a driving job. If they're just looking for an 8-hour-a-day job, that's not the job for them because they're going to work weekends, they're going to work holidays. That's what it's about. But
so you got to be dedicated and you got to be a safe driver, but it's more than that.
Yeah, well, what you get in return? I mean, I can't explain to a person until they get out there and they find out what pride you can take. You're taking a vehicle down the road that's worth $500,000 and 55 lives you're protecting as you go down the road. And that's just not something anybody can do. I mean, it's a very important job. But it's a job you get to love, or either that or the ones that aren't going to make it don't last long. A couple, 3-4 weeks, and
Really, pretty fast.
they have to come in the office and say, gee, I'm awful sorry, thanks for the job, but
It's not for me.
nope, they realize that fast. But I just got to love everybody. I had repeat passengers that would go on tours, and it was so neat. I mean, you'd see the same people again, and they'd be happy that you were on their tour. And
Gary, it's you. Yes.
So that's how you're getting to know people and all that. I migrated down to the senior center here one day and started asking questions and all that. Well, they had a dance orchestra, and I says, they by any chance need any musicians? Well, sure enough, they could use a trombone, so I got in as a trombone player, and it wasn't 5-6 years later, the director, who had had a few strokes, asked me, Gary, would you mind taking over the band? And I said, well, I'll give it a try until you're feeling better. Well, that was almost 10 years ago. I'm still doing that, yeah, and it's just great. There's still people around, believe it or not, that like the big band music. And I'm sure you probably do too. I mean, you're
I
a
hope
musician.
people like that remain around for many, we need people to enjoy band music.
So I take the musical part for the piano, I take it home and I make an arrangement that fits the instrumentation of our band down there at the Senior Center, and then bring it down and we play it. I have close to 300 arrangements now that I have done for this band in the 10 years or so, something in that vicinity that I have been around, but I've made all the arrangements for the band. And
That is really a large number.
Well, so my wife being a teacher...
And when I was taking arrangement classes,
Yeah.
our instructor told us that your first 100 arrangements are going to be terrible. So it is your job to get that number 101 as fast as possible. And you've done 300 of these. So I would imagine at least 200 of them are quite good.
Well, maybe you didn't have the facilities I have. The computer industry has come up with a program called Finale. Are you
Yes,
familiar?
I'm familiar with Finale.
I bought the program and I get an upgrade every year. I get done with the arrangement and it plays it back exactly the way it will sound. The saxes sound like the saxes, the trumpets sound like the trumpets, the piano. So the computer plays it back to me exactly how the band's going to sound when it plays. So I'll play the trombone parts, then the trumpet parts, and I'll put them together. I can pick out...
So it helps to avoid mistakes when you sit in front of the band and go, this is not what I had in mind.
And,
Finale addresses that.
Exactly, and I finally get one that's really going to sound great, and I get excited about it. So I take it down and work with the band, and as soon as they've got that thing sounding the way I want to, I mean, hey, I created that. I love it. I just love it. You know, it's a good feeling.
Cool.